So, as you guys may know, the 2024 MVP has been rightfully awarded to Nikola Jokic for the third time in 4 seasons. Now, Jokic wins the MVP every single time he wins it. There's tons of controversy and backlash. And the most glaring part about the anti-Jokic crowd is revisionist history to downplay his accomplishments.
Joker, third MVP in 4 seasons, Shea runner-up. Do I feel it was the correct decision? I mean, Joker's great. However, I think the way Shea closed the season, he had a great season all year, but the way he closed the season, the way it came down the stretch of who was going to get the number 1 seed, like the number 1 seed and all that stuff mattered when Joker got the number 1 seed, but now it don't matter when Shea get the number 1 seed.
Everything that guy just says is bullshit.
So, Draymond Green right there, the podcast king, the quote-unquote new media, the basketball savant he is. He couldn't take 5 seconds to go on Google and look at Denver's record when Jokic won the MVP. As if he did that, he'd see in 2021, they were the 3rd seed. 22, the 6th seed. 23, yes, the 1st seed, but Jokic didn't win the MVP. And of course, this year, the 2nd seed tied in wins with the Thunder. Draymond's entire point, his entire argument of the goalpost shifting for Jokic is debunked by Denver's own record and the fact in 2023, he was the 1st seed and didn't win the MVP. But Draymond Green, the player podcast era, these guys are just so downright lazy, they can't be bothered to do basic research. And to imply the Joker somehow is getting the benefit of the media, the goalposts are moving for him after last season, is downright comical. Because back in 2022, when Denver was the 6th seed and he rightfully won the MVP, what did they say coming into next season? Well, the Joker can't win it again if he's not the 1st seed. And what did he do? Led Denver to the 1st seed and didn't win the MVP. If anyone's moving the goalpost, it's the media moving the MVP goalpost away from the Joker. What this comes down to in essence is the media, fans, talking heads getting bored of the Joker and him winning MVPs. And look, it happened to LeBron James. He won 4 and 5 seasons and never sniffed one the rest of his career. Jordan in the late 90s should have won 3 straight, but they kinda got bored. Bird in the mid 80s did win 3 straight, but when he had his best individual season, didn't win the MVP. The case of voter fatigue has been going on for years now. And looking at someone like Stephen A. Smith, hearing him break down SGA's MVP case is just painful to listen to. And look, listen to all of this, because for 30 straight seconds, this dude rambles, says nothing, and makes no coherent points.
Let me tell you, SGA, Steph Curry is in the Western Conference. Okay, Luka Doncic is in the Western Conference. Kyrie Irving is in the Western Conference. I'm looking at these. Anthony Edwards is in the Western Conference. You understand? I'm like LeBron James and these peeps. They in the Western Conference. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard and James Harden in the Western Conference. In the East, you got Brunson. You got Tatum. You see these people. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander simply went out there and shot average 30, scored over 30, 50 times, shot 53.5% from the field. Only him and Michael Jordan had averaged 30 with 2 steals per game in NBA history. Okay, they got the number 1 seed in the West. They won 57 games on the 2nd youngest team in the league.
This dude spent close to 30 seconds listing off players in the West and the East, like Jokic himself doesn't play in the NBA. Yes, we get it, the NBA has talent, has superstars, but the Joker, just like SGA, is facing those players on a nightly basis. And Stephen A. Smith, who doesn't watch basketball, doesn't understand basketball, he repeats the same old talking point with SGA. Well, you know, the youngest 1st seed in NBA history, he averaged 30.
I think he's like 25 years of age, 24, 25 years of age. He was the 3rd leading scorer in the league this year, averaging 30.
I'm not going to have you suffer through an entire episode of First Take, but Stephen A's rationale is like just the most shallow arguments I've ever heard in favor of a player winning the MVP. And looking at a lot of the takes I see nowadays on YouTube, social media, and especially the major sports networks, people arguing SGA got robbed. What's the one common through line in all their points? Stats and Oklahoma City being a young team. That's really it. And by the way they talk about it, you'd think OKC won 70 games and the Nuggets only 42. But in reality, they both won 57. It's not a 5-win gap, a 10-win gap, or a 15-win gap. These two teams had the exact same record. And stats-wise, looking at Jokic versus SGA, of course Shea has great numbers. But the Joker, more boards, assists, better from the field, 3, higher true shooting percentage, and overall, better basic numbers. And the advanced metrics, it's not even fair. Win shares plus minus, defensive plus minus, defensive win shares, offensive rating, defensive rating, all the value metrics advanced numbers favor the Joker. And of course, why is that? It's because the Joker, to his team and just to the general league, is the most valuable player in the world. And again, looking at the anti-Jokic crowd, one of the biggest people against him winning MVP was Shaquille O'Neal.
I don't like to rain on people's parade, but I'm not happy with this one. Based on everybody's criteria, my criteria, stat stuffer, you guys' criteria, number 1 seed, which team has the better record. No disrespect to the Joker, but me personally, I would have gave it to Shaq.
You keep throwing stat stuffer out there.
No, because that's my criteria for MVP.
Does NIKOLA Jokic not stuff the stat sheet?
Yeah, but not like Shea.
Really?
If you took Stephen A. Smith's argument for SGA winning MVP and compared to Shaq's argument, it's the exact same thing. And for Shaq, he actually went one step further, saying Jokic, quote, isn't a stat stuffer like SGA. Now, when you say stat stuffer, what does that imply? Points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, kind of the generic things for a basketball player. Now look, SGA again, great numbers. But compared to the Joker, who's the bigger stat stuffer? Jokic this year, points, ranked 5th, boards, 3rd, assists, 2nd, steals, 8th, and blocks, 32nd. In 4 of the 5 major stat categories, he was top 10 for the entire NBA. And compared to his Nuggets team, the leader in points, rebounds, assists, and steals. Now looking at SGA, points, 2nd, which is great, rebounds, not top 50, assists, 18th, steals 1st, and blocks, 35th. Of course, a great season, some really high ranks. But going by the stat stuffer moniker, SGA versus Jokic, it's not even close.
Shea is one of the few players that had 30 points in 50 games,
Yeah,
Ernie.
well, but when you're talking about stuff in the stat sheet, look at all the triple doubles for NIKOLA Jokic and look at his ranks in scoring, rebounding, and assists. I don't think stat stuffing is an argument.
Okay,
here.
but even doing all that, OKC was the number 1 seed.
They had
only by 1 game.
They had identical records.
Now, stopping that clip right there, Ernie Johnson, I'm glad he caught Shaq, because saying your criteria is stat stuffing and winning, but then downplaying the Joker's stat stuffing, really makes no sense. If you value stat stuffing so much, Jokic is the runaway MVP. SGA, still top 3, but not the MVP. And for Shaq specifically, what is he always talking about? Well, man, I should have won 4, 5 MVPs. I was robbed X amount of years. Now, using Shaq's own criteria of just pure stat stuffing and team wins, look at the 05 MVP, and you tell me who deserved it by his own criteria. Shaq in 05 with the Heat, points, 15th, boards, 9th, assists, 82nd, steals, not top 200, blocks, 4th, and wins, 53. Now, that is stat stuffing, but compared to Dirk, Nowitzki, 5th in points, 10th in boards, 65th in assists, 34th in steals, 19th in blocks, and wins had 56. If we're going by Shaq's own criteria for SGA versus Jokic, for Dirk versus Shaq, Nowitzki should have won MVP. And look, when it comes to MVP, yes, have the goalposts moved ever so slightly in the past 25 seasons? Of course they have, it's only natural. But looking at the past decade, the criteria has been pretty consistent. Where things go awry though, is when media members, fans, try to shoehorn their guy in to winning the award when he doesn't deserve it. And now people arguing in 2024, the Joker somehow gets the benefit of the awards, the benefit of the voters. Again, absolutely comical, because all last year called a fake MVP a stat patter and that he shouldn't win the award. And ultimately, it was stolen from him by Joel Embiid. Long story short, SGA, a great player. MVP, not this season. So, as always, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.